Hey folks, Justin from Tackle Tactics. Today I wanted to share with you a video out fishing one of my favourite ZMan soft plastics, the 2.5 inch prawns, a realistic 10 times tough prawn imitation that is deadly on a stack of different species. So my dad hasn't had much of an opportunity to fish this plastic, and he's seen a couple of videos of me fishing it, so he was really keen to give it a go. So this session is all about taking my dad out on the flats to catch himself a couple of bream on the prawns. And the tide wasn't a very high one, so the water was very low on the flats. So we fished our prawns on a 1/8 ounce in a 1/0 in the TT HeadlockZ Finesse UV jig head. So a 1/8 ounce 1/0, that little prawns, and our mission was to get out on the flats and catch ourselves a few bream. Just fishing light spin gear, and really good fun when those fish connect across the flats. So check this out, make sure you hang around right to the end so you can see what my dad caught his first time seriously fishing the prawns. And yeah, he was pretty impressed with them, and hopefully you can get out and get into a few yourself on this deadly little prawn imitation. Let's get out and get stuck into a few fish. Cheers. I don't know if you can see all of this turbulent water around us here. That's pressure points, that's the tide hitting up on the start of this flat that we're going to fish. Seen a bit of bait in the water as well, and that pressure point, it'll disorientate bait, it'll give fish ambush points, and it's yeah, the water movement is definitely a bonus in terms of when you're fishing. Look for water movement, eddies and bait. Yep, there we go. Yep. Doesn't feel like a monster, but he's our first fish of the session, so that's all right. Oh, he's growing a bit, Dad, this one. He's growing a bit as he gets closer. No, it's shaky. might even be a little trev or something, maybe just a brimbo. Fired up. No, I'll just swing him in, I think. Oh, that's a nice bream. Have a look at that guy. Have a look at that thing to start the session. Beautiful. Have a look at that guy to start the session. That's a pretty decent chunk of bream. And if you reckon they wouldn't like a prawn, have a look at that thing. That prawn is right in there. Yeah, that's a nice bream to start the session off. Flicking those prawns up around on the flats. It's been a bit quiet. We've had a good probably dozen casts each, but that's the thing, if you're on the flat like this, you could be getting invaded by small bream, whereas if it's a little bit quieter, you're often got more chance of finding some better quality fish. He's 32 tipper, so he's a decent sized fish. Might get a photo of that guy and we'll get him back in the water. So basically, as we drift, we're drifting with the tide here. We've got a slight breeze behind us that we're using to throw a longer cast. And when I fish this plastic, I basically cast it out there. I'll let it sink down a little, and then I just give it a few, I give it a few shakes while I wind the reel. So it's pretty much 1, 2, 3, 4 flicks while I'm winding the reel. Pause. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 or 4 flicks. 1, 2, 3, whatever you feel. Just give it a few shakes and flicks while you're winding the reel, and then give it a pause. That makes it dart away from the fish, and then you'll often get eaten on that slack line when you drop it back. So a few shakes and a pause. On the pause, be ready for the bite. We're fishing pretty shallow here, so the fish are going to be up feeding actively. So that take was an aggressive take, and it's all just about covering plenty of water, throwing long casts, and working that plastic back. You don't have to be hitting the bottom. You can hit the bottom every now and then. If you want to sandy patch just here, you might be able to see, so those sandy patches often hold a flatty and you might want to hit the bottom. But with this light head, you can kind of hit the bottom and not weed up too badly, so you can still keep flicking it and just give it a nice little punchy flick out of the weed if you are on the bottom. But I'm just keeping it moving, twitch, 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 pause, and then yeah, that pause is often the time when they'll eat it. Yeah, all right, bit of scent on there. sent up and slay them. Bit of procure. We're going to sneak in on this patch of mullet that we found. So we're on the spot lock. We're just going to sneak over to within casting distance without spooking them. On. Look like a reasonable Brimbo, is he? Oh no, pocket rocket, is he? He was up in amongst those mullet, eh? Oh, he's not too bad, Dad.
You got it.
Beautiful. Another Brimbo on the flats, flicking the prawns around, super shallow water on that 1/8 ounce head. That bloke was up sort of in amongst the mullet a bit there, ain't he?
Bit better than me.
Yeah, he'd be a just legally probably, that fella. Right in the corner of the jaw where you want to hook him. Good job, Dad.
Well done. Thank you.
Fish on. Righto. Why are we back in the shed? Time out. We had a GoPro fail. Again, the GoPro froze, so we missed a couple of brim getting caught, and we also missed a cracker that I hooked up on. I've actually got the fish. I realised the camera wasn't working. We've got the fish coming out of the net and that, but I thought it's just worth listening to the hookup on this fish because it was a pretty nice fish and the hookup was great fun. So here we go. This is a bit of a podcast for a second, and you can imagine you're on the water with me and I am absolutely hooked up to a cracker. So here we go. Yep. Oh, what are you? Oh. Oh, we've been working some broken weed patches. We've just come back to a little school of mullet that we found now. And just picked this guy up off the bottom though. It could be a nice grunter. Come on, buddy. That's on that opening night coloured prawn with the black head. I like the black head with that subtle UV with that nice natural opening night colour prawn. Got that bit of flash and sparkle of the prawn. Oh, that's an absolute cracker, Brim, Dad. Eating that ZMan 2.5 inch prawns on that black head in a 1/8 ounce 1/0. That's that TT HeadlockZ Finesse UV. So that's a solid Brim. We'll whack him on the measure. 8 in less than a metre of water. Here's a 38 tipper. So he's a nice Brim on the flats. Flicking that prawn around, I've just let that fall to the bottom and he's picked it up off the bottom. Couple of nice big zipping runs across the flat, and stoked. Awesome fish. Get him off, get him back in the water. Fish on. Oh, there's some bait there. Yeah, a bit of bait. Oh no, I've caught one. Double look up. What you got, Brimbo? Yeah, I've got a Brimbo too by the feel of it. Come on, buddy. Oh, this one's a bit angry. No water there again. Just changed up my colour. That's on the Houdini colour. Oh, sorry, buddy. You right there?
Yep.
Just changed up my colour. That's a Houdini colour on the bloodworm coloured head. And that fish is probably a legal fish. Yep, he's a 30 tipper. So they're not bad sized fish that we're getting on the flat here. And that's just flicking around that prawns on that 1/8 ounce 1/0 head. Alright, send him back. Bit of fun in this super shallow water, catching those brim though. Even the little fellas go hard in that super shallow. Oh, there's a whole school of them, Dad. Just took off out of that first patch of weed.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, see the big line of puff of sand there? That was all a line of fish sitting in a little hole.
That's all it takes, isn't
Yep, there's a fish. Yep, in amongst that weed, there's a bunch of them, mate. So how's that, folks? You can see there's a bit of a drain through here. It was full of fish. We just saw them take off. You on? See them taking off everywhere, eh? So those bream are sitting in this depression on the flats here where that bit of weed is. He's another nice little fish. But we are in half a metre of water. And these bream that we've drifting across the flat, yeah, Ronnie's on. There's a depression here on the flat, a little bit deeper water, patch of weed, and these fish are just sitting in it. So there's a lot of fish in this one little area. So he's a nice one.
He doesn't want to come.
No, you want a net around that guy, hey? He's a tank. He's a good fish, Dad. What a beast.
Maybe we do need to.
Yeah, I'll get the net. Half a metre of water. You can see the bottom, they're staring at the bottom where that whole school of fish have sort of moved on, but he didn't muck around eating it, Dad. He's a tank. Look at the size of that. That's a beautiful bream. Holy dooly. How good's the prawn, Ronnie? You're gonna have to jump in here and hold him. I gotta get a photo. That's a tag. Look at that, folks. Look at the size of that fish, the width of him. Holy dooly, what a beast. You haven't got one like that for a little while, Ronnie.
No,
You do.
No.
Let's have a look at that on the ruler. Here's a 40 centimetre tipper. 40 centimetre tipper off yellowfin bream out of half a metre of water on the flats, flicking around the little prawns. Just watch your lures there. Get him under the... Get your hand out of the way. That one at the back. That's it. That's a proper fish, and small.
Smart fish.
Just get him a little straighter so he catches the sun. And small. Give us one more look at it, Ronnie, before we send it back. That is a beast of a fish. Have a look at that, folks. That is a 40 centimetre tipper. What a tank. Look at the width of it. That is a beautiful big fish. Alright, folks. What a beast. If you haven't given that little PrawnZ a run, get on it. That fish has just picked that up and smashed it. Awesome fish. Righto, folks, there we go. A quick session. Hour and a half of running tide, drifting the flats. Not a big tide, so we only had about half a metre of water, but you can see how well the fish responded to that 2.5 inch prawns twitched over the flats. What do you reckon, Ronnie? You were keen to give that PrawnZ a go. What do you reckon now?
I'm convinced.
He's been wanting to give that little PrawnZ a go for a while. Got himself a 40 centimetre tipper, yellowfin bream, so absolute cracker on the flats. Check it out, get out there, give that PrawnZ a go, get out on the flats and give it a flick around, and hopefully you get hooked up to one just like the one that Ronnie got. All the best with the fishing. Cheers.